Well, we keep chickens here, not like those in total shock over there. So we brought in a Hamburg rooster.
Ukrainian Commander-in-Chief Syrski announced a new counteroffensive by the Ukrainian armed forces. General Syrski reported that the situation on the Pokrovsky and Kurakiv directions has been stabilized and a future counteroffensive by the Ukrainian armed forces is being planned. Overall, the situation on the front line remains challenging. In total, 217 combat engagements were recorded over the past day. In the same time, the NATO Parliamentary Assembly has called for Ukraine to be provided with medium-range missiles. These could be ballistic missiles with a range of 1,000 to 5,500 kilometers, including Tomahawk missiles, which can strike at the enemy's strategic depth. Germany also has announced that it will hand over Iris-T short and medium-range air defense systems to Ukraine before the Christmas holidays. We mainly keep chickens here, but we got ourselves a Hamburg rooster. A soldier seconded from the 114th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces was sent to serve his punishment in a chicken coop by his new comrades.
Well, we keep chickens here, not like those in total shock over there. So we brought in a Hamburg rooster, a fighter from the legendary 114th Brigade, damn. Temporarily assigned to us, a real tough guy. Hey soldier, burp something, damn. Call sign Bashlik, but in fact, he's a rooster. He drinks and fights on the front lines. We'll sober him up now and figure something else out, jerk.
The Security Service of Ukraine and the National Police detained a Russian agent who committed a terrorist attack in the center of Kiev on behalf of enemy special services. SSU Press Service reported the news. On November 17th, a police unit responded to a call about domestic violence in an apartment building in the Pantsir-S district of the capital. When law enforcement officers attempted to enter the house, a so-called tripwire with an F1 grenade went off at the entrance to the premises. As it turned out, no one lived in the apartment, and the call made by a woman's voice to the 102 line was a fake to lure the police into a trap and kill them. According to the SSU, this terrorist attack was planned by Russian special services. To carry it out, they remotely recruited a 43-year-old resident of the Kiev region who had already served 6 sentences for robbery, theft, and escaping from prison. Before installing the booby trap, the agent completed a test task. He set fire to a relay cabinet of Ukrzaliznytsia on the outskirts of the capital and sent the relevant videos to his handler. After that, the repeat offender received step-by-step instructions for committing a terrorist attack against Ukrainian law enforcement. The offender rented an apartment in the center of Kiev and installed a tripwire with a combat grenade, as well as video cameras that were supposed to record the explosion in real time. As a result of professional police actions, no one was injured in the explosion. Soon after, law enforcement officers detained the suspect in hot pursuit. During the searches of the detainee's apartment, they seized a cell phone, SIM cards, and clothes with evidence of criminal actions. The offender is currently in custody. He faces up to 12 years in prison with confiscation of property. Earlier this month, military counterintelligence and SSU investigators detained a mole in the ranks of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, who was passing plans for special operations behind enemy lines to the invaders. The occupation authorities in the Kherson region have sentenced Nova Kakhovka City Council Deputy Igor Protokovilo to 12 years in prison on charges of espionage. He allegedly provided the SBU with information about the positions of Russian militants in April 2022. The so-called Russian world means living your entire life in your own home, engaging in politics, helping people, only to have terrorists show up one day and imprison you for 12 years. Russians shot 5 Ukrainian prisoners of war in the Pokrovsk sector. On 13th November, the occupiers began an assault on the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces near the village of Petrivka, Pokrovsk district. 5 Ukrainian armed forces servicemen retreated and took refuge in a private house, which was later surrounded by the enemy. Attention! Europe. Russian propagandist Solovyev threatens European countries with strikes on plants and military bases, saying they will not warn civilians because there aren't our civilians there.
The messages supposedly coming from defense ministers and politicians play no role. They're trying to intimidate us, but we won't be scared. You don't even understand what happened to be scared. Ask your military or experts, they'll explain it to you. You didn't like what's here in the cars, but do you realize what might come next? Rheinmetall. Only Vladimir Vladimirovich said that we will warn civilians in Ukraine, but we don't need to warn these ones. Our civilians aren't there. This means that something could happen with, let's say, NATO bases that supplied those missiles which the Americans launched from Ukrainian territory at targets in Russian territory in Poland, Romania, Britain, or anywhere else. Is that what you want? It directly brings to mind the biblical phrase, they shall be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. Though this was said about homosexuals, which somewhat relates to those making various decisions in the West. Do you feel it a little? Come around.
And let's get back to Syrski. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has instructed the command of all brigades to create a full-time recruiting unit. The relevant directive set a task to form full-time recruiting units in the active military units of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This decision will allow brigade commanders to improve the organization of the recruitment process and ensure that all volunteers are properly assisted during the mobilization process. The innovation results from changes made by the Cabinet of Ministers to the conscription procedure, which allowed volunteers to be recruited directly to military units without going to territorial recruitment and social support centers. The brigades have received the tools they have been asking for a long time to carry out high-quality recruitment, which results in targeted recruitment of volunteers. This decree is a tool that will significantly reduce the recruitment time and ensure that everyone can join where his or her desires and skills coincide with national defense needs, Minister of Defense of Ukraine Rustem Umerov commented. Commanders of military units can already provide referrals for a military medical commission to determine the degree of fitness for military service. In addition, they can staff active military units with volunteers who are willing to serve under conscription. The Defense Forces have a long-standing practice of recruiting the personnel they need through their own recruiters. In this system, interested persons obliged to serve in the armed forces are accompanied during the preliminary military qualification examination, TCC and SP paperwork, and training centers.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.